So I do want to come up here, this is a warning, but it's also instruction. It's a warning, but it's also an instruction. This is also prophecy, what I'm going to prophesy to y'all. It is going to be a lot going on, negative and positive. It's going to be happening simultaneously at the same time, okay? But stay vigilant, stay prayed up, pray without ceasing, and watch the times. Remember, God said watch and pray. So first and foremost, I do want to say in the beginning of this video is there is a way, and the way is Jesus, and Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. In these days, there's going to be a lot of people trying to discourage y'all, lead y'all astray. We all know that in biblical text, God said it would be like the blind leading the blind. You get what I'm saying? So don't be discouraged, but this is why it's important, and I'm illuminating that y'all get to know God for yourself, and y'all read his word for yourself, so that nobody won't deceive you, and you won't deceive your own self in the process. You don't want outsiders deceiving you, and you don't want to deceive your own self with leaning on your own understanding, okay? It should just be God above you and God above everybody else, right? Okay. So Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Many are going to say, lo, behold, that way, do this, do that, go this way, go here, go here, go here, do this and the third. But God, okay? Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So in Romans 1:21, and I'm going to turn my camera for y'all so y'all can read along with me. It says, Romans 1:21, for although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Then we're going to go to Romans 1:22. Romans 1 verse 22 says, although they claimed to be wise, they became fools. Then we're going to go to the 23, verse 23. And exchanged the glory of the immortal God, for images made to look like a mortal human being, and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore, God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity, for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised. Amen. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed shameful acts with one another, with men, and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Therefore, furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind so that they do what ought not to be done. So now, just based off of that, I just really wanted y'all to hear that main part about people did not contain God in their thoughts. That's why it's a lot of people today leaning on their own understanding. It's so easy for people to lead them astray. It's so easy for them to lean on their own understanding. It's so easy for people to discourage them and tell them go this way, go that way. It's so easy for them to just do what they want to do. It's because God, the knowledge of God, the wisdom of God is not in them. It's not in their ways. It's not in their thoughts. And the consequence of that is is God turning them over into a reprobate mind, turning them over to the enemy to do things that they ought not to do, and had them thinking that it's right, because when they had the opportunity to retain God in their ways, to retain God in their knowledge, when they had that opportunity, they kept what? Rejecting him. And God said, you reject me, I will reject you. And therefore, the consequence thereof, because people, he renew his mercies every day. He's so graceful. Let me tell y'all something that runs out. Or else there won't be a penalty called a reprobate mind. You get what I'm saying? Don't take advantage of God's grace. People love to make God seem like he's so tender, he's so fragile, and he'll forgive you. And yes, yes, yes. Then why is it a place called hell that a lot of people is going? Because they believe this religious state. They got a religious mindset that, oh, everything is fair game. It's not. Even the 10 foolish virgin, it was 5 foolish ones. When the bridegroom came and they wasn't prepared and they wasn't ready, oh, they definitely got left behind. It was no, oh, God is gonna forgive them and let them in anyway over there, and he had mercy on them. No, he closed the door and they got left behind because they didn't have enough oil in their lampstands. And they was fair game to whatever took place after that. Do you hear what I'm saying? Okay, so let's go forward. And hold on. So in the beginning of the video, I did mention about Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Because there's going to be many that try to give y'all all of this and all of that. Come out, go ahead, do this, all of this, all of this, all of that, this and the third. Put God first, please. Put God first, please. Because right here in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13, it says, enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter there through it. And then we're going to go to 14. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. So, if you know, those who have eyes to see, let him see. Those who have ears to hear, let him hear. You get what I'm saying? But thus saith the Lord. Well, all of the illusion and all of the noise in the world and all of this and all of the distractions, you ought to have that intimate relationship with God and know who he is and find out who he is for yourself and know his word. Or you're going to be vulnerable to be led astray, to be held captive in bondage and sin and all that other stuff. We was called to overcome the world, have exercise dominion, authority, and power over the world, and all that's going on in it. Like, I'm above it. A lot of people like to say you're not bigger than the program. Now I'm gonna tell you I'm bigger than the program. I was never a part of the program. I never fit in the program anyway. So therefore I'm above the program. Yeah. So because God said that I'm more than a conqueror. And if he overcame the world, that means I'm bigger than the program. Yeah. So yeah, y'all, I just wanted to get up here and tell y'all that, like, listen, for those who don't want to retain God in their knowledge and in their ways, you can be turned over reprobate. So I'm warning y'all, this is a warning, because I said it's going to be bad times. There's going to be people in the world that God turned over reprobate because they did not want to retain him in their ways and in their knowledge. The 10 Commandments says, thou shalt not have any other gods before me. We just read about the images and stuff like that, right? I just read it to y'all. I even showed y'all. They didn't want to retain him. They did not want to acknowledge him for who he was. They did not want to follow his ways. They did not want to give up the mindset of Egypt. The Egyptian mindset, they did not want to give up. They wanted to exalt themselves. They didn't want to humble themselves and put God first and stand on his principles and his ways. They wanted to keep on with the keep on, and he turned them over reprobate. This is what we'll be seeing. People being turned over reprobate. Why they wilding like that? Why they acting like that? Because at this point, they don't have no choice. God done turned them over to do everything that is unhonorable and disfavorable, and they are in a great deception, thinking that it's right. That's accursed. That's a curse, to be turned over reprobate. I don't know if it's permanent or anything like that, but I know that God mentioned it and he told us why that happens. They didn't want to stop that mess. I gave y'all the chapters. I gave y'all the verses. Y'all can go read for yourself. All right. So with that being said, y'all, peace, love, and blessings, family. I'm out of here. So you're going to see, like I said, positive and negative happening simultaneously at the same time. It's going to be people that's doing the will of God. God will be exalting them, because anybody who exalt God, God will exalt them. Anybody who decide to exalt themselves in their own self-righteousness, even though he said your righteousness is as filthy rags to me, they will be abased. They will be humbled. So, and I read that specifically where it said pride go before destruction. You know that gate is very wide. People that have too much pride to put God first, destruction. You get what I'm saying? And that could look like many things. It don't have to just look like, oh, you going straight to the HELL place. It could look like areas in your life is messed up because you refuse to turn those areas in your life over to God. You got some people, they let God work in this area of their life, but they won't let God touch that area of their life. So that area of their life will be under judgment, under wrath, under condemnation, under destruction. You gotta surrender all, everything, and trust and have that kind of faith. Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and strength. I'm out.